My sister asked my mom for money again, a large amount for a business opportunity. And this time, my mom called me first, not to blame me, to ask advice. That was new. She said she was scared. She admitted the loan payments were heavy. She admitted she felt manipulated. And that's when I realized something. The system wasn't collapsing because I reported fraud. It was collapsing because reality was catching up. I told my mom something I wish someone told her years ago. Helping her isn't the same as protecting her from consequences. Long silence. Then she whispered, "I know." And that was the first crack in the wall. But cracks don't mean collapse, because here's the cliffhanger. A week later, I got a call from a collections agency. Not about me, about my mom. Her loan payments were late, and guess who hadn't contributed anything toward them? Exactly. Episode 3 isn't about winning. It's about watching a system unravel. Because sometimes the villain isn't the loudest person in the room, it's the pattern nobody wants to confront. Now I need to ask you something. If enforcing boundaries makes you the villain in the short term, but saves your family in the long term, would you still do it? Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you want to see what happens next, when the bank calls again and the entire financial mess explodes, make sure you subscribe. Because episode 4 is where everything changes. Trust me, you don't want to miss what she does next. So now I need to ask you something. If enforcing boundaries makes you the villain in the short term, but protects your future in the long term, would you still do it? Because in episode 4, things don't calm down, they escalate, the bank calls again. My mom starts seeing the consequences in real time. And my sister, she decides to flip the narrative completely. And what she does next almost destroys what's left of this family. If you want to see how this unfolds, make sure you subscribe right now. Because this story isn't over. New episodes drop soon, and trust me, episode 4 changes everything. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next episode. After I reported my sister, my mom turned on me. You ever realize you weren't fighting one person? You were fighting an entire system? Because that's what episode 3 felt like. After I reported my sister for using my credit card, I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. Because the real problem wasn't the fraud. It was the family that protected it. Let me take you back to the night everything shifted. After episode 2, after the fraud report, the frozen credit, the confrontation, the house went quiet. Not peaceful quiet, judgment quiet. The kind of silence that feels like you've already been convicted. My mom stopped calling. Group chat slowed down. My aunt sent me a message that just said, "Disappointed." Interesting. Disappointed in the thief? No, disappointed in me. Then one evening my mom called. "Come over, we need to talk." When a parent says that calmly, you know it's not calm. I drove over. My sister was already there. Of course she was. She looked composed, victim mode activated. My mom sat at the table like this was a formal hearing, and then she said it. "You embarrassed this family." Pause. I embarrassed the family, not the person who committed fraud. Me. Apparently, filing a report was taking it too far. Because in our family, we handle things privately. I asked a simple question. If a stranger did this to me, what would you tell me to do? Silence. Then my mom avoided eye contact. That's when she dropped the first real bomb. She said she had been helping my sister financially for years. Small amounts at first, then bigger ones. Rent, car payments, credit card balances. And then she said something that explained everything. She's done this before. Done what before? Used someone else's credit card, my mom's. And every time, my mom paid it quietly. No police, no fraud report, no consequences. Just absorption. Suddenly, the pattern made sense. My sister didn't think what she did was catastrophic. She thought it was survivable, because historically, it always was. Then my mom admitted something else. She had taken out a personal loan recently to consolidate my sister's debt. I asked how much. She hesitated, then said it. $18,000. $18,000. My stomach dropped. Not because of the money alone, but because of what it represented. My mom wasn't just protecting her. She was drowning for her. And here's the hard truth. When you keep rescuing someone from consequences, you teach them that consequences aren't real. My sister sat there quietly, not ashamed, not apologetic, just watching the dynamic unfold, like she'd seen it before, because she had. My mom looked at me and said, "She's sensitive, she's struggling. You know how she is." Yes, I do know how she is. That's the problem. Then came the real pressure. My mom asked me to withdraw the fraud investigation entirely, to officially close it, to protect your sister's future. Interesting phrase, protect her future. What about mine? What about my credit? What about the attempted credit line in my name? That's when my sister finally spoke. "If you don't drop it, I'm done with you." There it was, emotional blackmail, but layered, because she added, "And when I move out, don't expect me to come back." My mom's eyes flicked to me, like the responsibility was mine, as if I was the detonator, as if the fraud didn't already happen. I asked my sister one question. "If I hadn't caught it, would you have stopped?" She didn't answer. And sometimes silence is the loudest confession. But here's where it gets worse. My mom revealed she had co-signed a refinance for my sister's car, meaning if my sister defaulted, my mom was legally on the hook. The $18,000 wasn't the bottom. It was just a layer. And suddenly I understood something painful. This wasn't just sibling chaos. This was generational enabling. My mom wasn't defending my sister because she thought she was right. She was defending her because she was financially entangled. Admitting my sister was reckless would mean admitting she enabled it. And that's hard, so instead, I was the villain, because villains are easier than accountability. That night I didn't yell. I didn't storm out. I said something simple. "I'm not the reason she's in trouble, her behavior is." And for a moment, my mom looked tired, not angry, tired. Like she knew, but didn't know how to undo years of patterns. I didn't escalate the investigation, but I didn't withdraw it either. I left it active, a boundary, a message. Cross this line again and I won't hesitate. The weeks after that were strange. Family gatherings were awkward. I was labeled cold. Money obsessed. Unforgiving. Meanwhile, the person who actually committed fraud, still invited, still protected, still misunderstood. But here's the shift. 3 months later,